Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, Crew Tools for Department Heads, Managing Your Script Breakdown, Starting Your Budget, Adding Characters, Actors, and Photos. My name is Jen, and I'm on the support team here at Sync on Set. I have my colleague Rachel with me from our accounts team, and she'll be leading you through today's tutorial. Before we jump into that, I want to give you an overview of what we'll cover today and why we've made these updates. Today's webinar is designed for costume supervisors, coordinators, hair and makeup keys, prop masters, lead people, and gang bosses. And we'll cover how to add new episodes, view multiple episodes at once, and manage characters, actors, and inventory across new episodes. Spoiler alert, no more importing. At the end of this year, we will be launching a new version of Sync on Set Crew Tools, and with that, we're making some behind-the-scenes changes that will set us up for the future, allowing us to expand our solutions for productions and iterate faster than ever on user feedback. First, you'll notice a brand new user experience. Our goal with this is to simplify the onboarding experience, particularly for productions that are working across multiple departments. Second, we've added the ability to view multiple departments and episodes together at the same time. These core changes will make Sync on Set Crew Tools much simpler for teams working on episodics. And you'll notice a new product switcher. This will help you easily and seamlessly navigate between the continuity and budgeting workflows, as well as jump into our Asset Hub product. Now, while Rachel will be walking you through the demo, I'll be monitoring the Q&A submissions, so please feel free to write in with any questions as you think of them. We'll take some time to answer questions at the end of the session. And after we finish today, we'll send you a copy of today's recording so you can review the video. Additionally, we'll send a list of FAQs, links to help articles on the new site, and a feedback survey so you can let us know how your experience was today. And again, please feel free to send in questions throughout the presentation today, and we'll leave time to answer those at the end. And one thing to note, we have also got a brand new help site. Go to support.synconset.com anytime for useful articles and step-by-step instructions. And with that, I'll pass it on over to Rachel.
Thanks, Jen. And before we hop into the website, we're going to just do a quick overview of what we plan to cover. So as Jen mentioned, this webinar is really focusing on the new Crew Tools update of being able to holistically look at multiple episodes and multiple departments at once. So we're going to take a look at what this means when we are ready to upload a new episode if we're working on an episodic. We're also going to take a look at what this means to view multiple episodes at one time, as well as being able to reuse characters and actors across the entire season versus having these be built out per episode. So as Jen alluded to, no more importing, which we're really excited about. Next, we'll talk about how you can reuse inventory across an entire season, which will be incredibly beneficial at wrap. And then lastly, we'll take a look at what this new display for multiple episodes and multiple departments, what this looks like on mobile as well. So hopping right into the website here, I'm on that My Productions page, which again just has not changed. The way we actually upload an episode or a script into the system is still the same. So you can see that I've got my Silicon Valley production here. Just noting that this is all test production data for these webinars. But let's go ahead and add an additional episode. So using that blue icon to the right-hand side, I'm going to click Add Episode. And this should look like a pretty familiar page as well. All we're going to do is add in the episode we're looking to upload. And I will pull in a sample script for us to take a look at and go ahead and continue. Now, as this breaks down the script, we are all aware that it comes to the character confirmation page first. wanted to take a second and chat about this, as there will be no more importing characters from a previous episode. Our goal here is to allow the characters to be available for you across all episodes or across the entire season. So what this means is that we want to just make sure we are thoroughly going through this character confirmation page and linking up the characters that are found in this new script we're uploading on the left, and link those to all of the characters that are currently in the Crew Tools system from the previous episodes. So for example, I have Richard Hendricks here. This is a name that was noticed on the third script I just uploaded, but I want to make sure this is linked to the Richard Hendricks that we already have created in the system. Same with Jin Yang. I'll make sure that we have one of these characters already available to us. Looks like we do. I'm going to make sure that's linked. So for the sake of time, I'll only go through those, but just make sure you confirm these characters, as there will no longer be a way to link characters after you've uploaded the script. So you want to make sure these are confirmed correctly. Otherwise, you would need to go to the character confirmation or the character index and delete the additional character manually. More about that will be in our FAQ as well. So continuing there, importing users, this is the same. We're just bringing over the same folks who were in episodes 1 and 2 from a crew perspective. And then breaking this down, that's going to come in the same way it always has. So being able to pull out the scene number, setting location of the scene, any characters with a speaking role, and then really leaving the team to be able to fill in the rest of the information as they go through the breakdown. Now you'll notice that I have episode 101 selected. I'm going to take a minute and focus on this episode selector in the top left corner. So this is really giving you the ability to actually view block shooting in the way that it's meant to. So we can select multiple episodes to view. And if we see that I select 102 and 103, we're going to see these scenes pop up here in real time. You can always filter that later, but just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with this drop down here and being able to kind of toggle this back and forth depending on the episodes you'd like to see, as well as the department information you'd like to be viewing. Now let's hop over to the characters index to talk a little bit about how we're able to allow these characters to be available to us regardless of what episode we're in. So one thing I wanted to mention here is that when we take a look at the character index, now again, I still have episodes 101, 102, and 103 selected. I am viewing characters for the entire season, but if I wanted to just view characters in those episodes, I can always click this and see characters from the full season. So this allows you to really ensure that you don't have to import characters from previous episodes. I can always click back and forth here to just see the characters in the episodes I'm working on. Otherwise, a list of the characters for the entire project. Moving into inventory. One thing that's really exciting with the ability to view multiple episodes at once is now the ability to have those inventory pieces available to you across all episodes or across the entire season. So for example, I know a lot of times props teams, for example, will actually create a separate episode specifically for wrap, where they can just import all the props that they've been using in the different episodes to their wrap episode. So they kind of have a big long list of everything they've used. We wanted to make sure that this type of workflow is suitable and available to you. So let's go ahead and just walk through this example here in real time. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure episode 101 is selected. And I'm going to go ahead and add a prop. So I only need the item name to get it in the system. So for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and just write in t-shirt. This is for the costume department. Sure, we can go ahead and add it to Richard's closet. There's quite a few things that we can add in terms of details about this item, but the one thing you may not see on this page is whether or not what episode it's going to be a part of. So again, this isn't episode specific. So we're just going to go ahead and create this in 101. We'll see the t-shirt at the very top of the list. But let's say we know that t-shirt's going to be used across the entire season. If we went back up and selected to see 102 as well as 103, that shirt is still there. I deselected episode 101 and I just have 102 and 103 selected. So just really trying to show everybody that regardless of where you enter this inventory, it's going to be available for you always on the main inventory list. So that's going to be really helpful for people as well. Now let's take a minute to hop into mobile and see what it looks like to view multiple departments and multiple episodes. Awesome, everybody. Thanks for being patient. Just wanted to switch this around so we're able to view mobile. So you should be able to see a Sync on Set mobile app. Wanted to start here just to show everybody that there is going to be a brand new app available to you. So the one on the left is what you're used to logging into. This will no longer be available, and you'll want to download the new Sync on Set app to view your production data after the 26th. So hopping into the new Sync on Set app, what I'm seeing here is the settings page. Now this is going to be a little different than the settings page you see today. And the main thing I want to point out here is how you're able to select multiple episodes at a time. The one thing you're used to seeing is switching productions. So typically this is the icon we would guide you to if you were in an episodic and needed to toggle back and forth between episodes, which is still the case. And you can certainly still use this icon to switch between if you have an episodic or maybe you're working a feature. So it is still going to have all of your productions. But this also allows you to select multiple episodes at one time. So you'll see here that this My Productions page does have the Addams Family, Addams the TV show, but right now I'm working in Silicon Valley. So if I select that, I can go ahead and see the episodes I have available to me. Now I have both of these selected, but you can always come in here and modify this based on what you're looking to focus on. But for the sake of this example, I want to show you what the scene index looks like with 2 episodes selected. So I'm going to go back to the settings page. Now that we have the episode selected that we'd like to see, we can come back here and also make sure that we're viewing the department information that we'd like to see as well. So hopping into choosing departments, I have all of these selected, but if you're just in costumes and you want to just focus on that costume specific information, feel free to go ahead and just deselect the other departments. And then you can go and view your scenes from there. I'll have these all selected for this example, but let's go in and actually view our scenes or our scene index. And as you can see, I've got this lined up based on shoot date. But because I'm shooting in blocks, I'll be shooting episodes from or scenes from episode 101 as well as 102 at the same time. And because I have those both selected from the settings page, I'm able to see these here pretty clearly on my scene index and then just hop into whichever one is going to be applicable to me at the time. Now, I won't dive in too much further here in mobile, but if you are still interested in learning more about this application, we do have a webinar that focuses specifically on the new updates to Crew Tools 5.0 for mobile. Feel free to reach out to us and we can certainly send you a recorded copy of that as well. Now I'm going to hop back over to the website here and with a couple closing remarks, so just give me 1 minute. Great, everybody. Thanks so much for your patience. So before we wrap up, I wanted to end back on this breakdown here and chat a little bit more about being able to view multiple episodes at one time or multiple scenes at one time. So like we were chatting about on mobile, you are able to filter by shoot date or use the filtering option to isolate the scenes that you're looking to focus on. And if this is the case in a block shooting example, you want to be able to see scenes from multiple episodes at one time. So for example, I would be able to do this here. Let's say we wanted to update shoot dates, for example, for scenes in episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'm always able to come over here to the ellipsis or this icon and update those in bulk. So selecting the calendar drop down here, I can always select a date. And then being able to use this drop down, I can search for those scenes. So let's say I just added episode 103. So I know that episode 103 is going to have scenes that we want to update. And it actually looks like I want to make sure that we have episode 103 selected. So this is a great example to re-review. So again, just coming back over to my icon where it says more in between edit all and add, I can update shoot dates. And then I'll have those episode 103 available to me. So let's say I wanted to update these from 103, 101, as well as something from 102. And I know that we're going to be shooting on Christmas because that sounds like a really fun day to shoot on. And we'll go ahead and save that so those dates update in real time for us. We'll notice that we see this updated here, but we've got a lot of scenes in our view, so we want to be able to just isolate those shooting on the 25th. I'm able to do that by using the filter icon to the right of the search bar. So by clicking on this will also give me that same calendar drop down, and I can go ahead and select the 25th to isolate. And those are going to be able to pull in the two scenes from episode 103, the scene from episode 102, and the scene from episode 101. The other thing that you all are able to do if this is a block shooting example, always feel free to write block 1 or block 2 or note this in the scene description. This way you'd also be able to search that in the search bar, and the scenes from multiple episodes within that block will pop up here as well. So just another option to filter that information. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of seeing on my view here is that we've got a lot of columns up at the very top of the page, or the top of the scenes, but I noticed my scene description's a little cut off. This is really kind of an annoyance because I want to be able to see that description in full view. So one of the new things we have also added is the ability to kind of customize this header column. So I can always drag this over and make this bigger. And I can also drag and drop or move any of these columns. So let's say I wanted to, for example, move shoot day over to the left-hand side here. I can do that. I can also add additional columns. So we might notice that something really important to costume is understanding what background characters are going to be in each scene. So I can always come to the choose columns icon to the left of the search bar and add that into my breakdown. So now I'm able to add this to my breakdown as I'm kind of going through the script. Otherwise, if you were in set deck and you wanted to maybe not see characters as much, but just focus on sets, that's an option here for us as well. So a little bit more customization for you as you actually go through that breakdown to make it much more easier for you to read. And that concludes the demo portion of the webinar for being able to view multiple episodes, multiple departments, as well as reusing characters and actors. But let's go over some best practices as well. So a couple best practices we wanted to just remind everybody on for the topics that we covered. Definitely the character confirmation page. Again, there will no longer be an option to link those characters after the character confirmation page. So just make sure you give that a thorough audit and link those while you upload that new episode. And that'll just alleviate you having to do any manual entry or deletion of characters afterwards. But on the plus side, that allows you to reuse those characters throughout the entire season. Next is to just remember that we have that episode selector in the top left corner. So you are able to see multiple episodes at once, as well as view multiple departments at one time. Next is to download the new Sync on Set app. Again, I mentioned that while we do have a webinar that specifically covers details about mobile that you can certainly get a recorded version of, the biggest thing to remember with mobile is that it's going to be a brand new app. So you'll want to find that from the App Store and download that, as well as make sure anything you have currently on your mobile device is synced up before the 26th. So we want to make sure that's all available for you when the new app goes live. As long as you sync your current app before the 26th, you should be in great shape there. And lastly, we always remind people to bookmark the Help Center. This is just going to be a great resource for reference articles and step-by-step guides that you can see and read at your own leisure. And with that, I will hand it back over to Jen to start our Q&A portion of the webinar.
Great, thanks, Rachel, and thanks so much to everybody who has submitted questions throughout the webinar. We're about to start the Q&A portion, so we want to give you a chance to write in any last questions now. And while you're doing that, we want you to know that we'll get to as many questions as we can, but if your question does not get answered live, please don't worry. We are recording all questions and we'll be sending out supplemental information following this webinar. So give us just a couple moments to let the rest of these questions roll in, and then we'll get started. So if you have any more burning questions, now's the time to write on in. All right, it looks like all of the questions have been submitted, so let's go ahead and get started. Tara asks, would you ever be able to view episodes from multiple seasons, or is it just limited to the current production?
Great question. So you are able to view as many episodes as you'd like, as long as they are attached to the same season. Seasons will still be separate accounts in terms of kind of how Sync on Set looks at that. But feel free to select as many episodes as long as they're attached to that one season.
Great. Here's another good one. What if a character is in the draft downloaded but is later named, the character name changed after? Is there no way to import their information anymore? Sorry, I'm a little confused by the question. If a character is in the draft downloaded, later is named after a character that has previously been on the show. So it sounds like asking if there's a character name change. Is there a way to import their information anymore?
Sure, definitely. Yeah, and I would just resort back to that character confirmation page. So let's say, for example, like with Silicon Valley, the first script is referring to Richard Hendricks as Richard. Maybe something happens mid-season and he's referred to as Rich moving forward. You just want to catch that in that character confirmation page. And as long as those two characters are linked together, it will update your new episodes so Richard's name reflects as Rich.
Great. Is there a way to import a costume item that is repeated often? Example, a shoe is worn throughout the season. Do I have to retype shoe description each time it's worn?
Great question. So no, the ability to reuse inventory again is really, you can kind of think of it as the idea of if you create it anywhere, it'll be available in the account. So let's actually take a look at this again. So I'm going to hop back into the inventory page, and I just wanted to highlight that we're going to take a look at episodes 1 again. And maybe we're doing this just for the costumes here. And we saw that t-shirt. Again, maybe I go ahead and type in a hydro flask. Just want to review this example again for you all so we can kind of just display that when you add an inventory piece, you're not adding it to a specific episode anymore. You'll see, if you can kind of see, it's a little cut off, but you'll see that I still just have episode 1 selected. So it feels like we're just creating that hydro flask for episode 1, but we're not noting that anywhere within this prompt. So I know that this is a Richard Hendricks item. I'm going to create that hydro flask. Again, I see this here on my inventory list. I created this for episode 101, but I do know that Richard is going to need that hydro flask for episode 102 as well as 103. So when I do that and change those episode view in real time, I'm still able to see the hydro flask that I just created. So that having to import your character closets and your inventory, you will no longer have to do that episode to episode. You just come to the inventory page here, and as long as you create it within your inventory list, it's going to be available regardless of what episode you have selected here. But great question.
Great. Here's another great question. When will the new app be available to download? Apparently, somebody just looked in the App Store. I love the enthusiasm. It is still the old icon. The new app will not be available until December 26th. Mark your calendar. Get ready to go on your post-Christmas App Store shopping spree and get the new Sync on Set. It won't even cost you a dime. Got another good question here from Jennifer. If we are starting a production and importing several episodes before the update goes live, will there be duplicate characters in those episodes when we add additional episodes after the 26th? Or will they update with the new system and not need to be imported for the remainder of the new script uploads? It's a great question, Jennifer.
Yes, yeah, this is definitely one that we want to kind of star and highlight. So anyone working on a production, an active production throughout the 26th, please know that you can work as you always do right up until that day and enter in your information. All of that production data will just be migrated over. So when you log in on after the 26th, you're going to see everything that you've uploaded to that account. There's going to be no need to re-upload episodes, re-import characters. It should just be in this little bit of a new facelift of a interface. So all of your same production data will still be there after the 26th.
Great, yeah. So make sure you've got your characters linked in advance, just in case. Here's another good question. If I'm entering a clothing item in inventory, will that then transfer to my print bag tag field? I believe you're talking about printing your bag tags for your changes. And
yeah, absolutely. If you add your inventory here on this page, you'll want to just make sure that the inventory item you create is tagged to that character's change. But then any inventory that you have on the actual change page, you'll be able to create a bag tag for.
great. And we have a follow-up from one of the previous questions that was asking about a character name change. Our user gave us an example set that says, say the draft says Cop 1 in the draft downloaded, and it later becomes Officer Gleason, who's been on the show before. Can I import Officer Gleason after the episode has already been confirmed? So the answer to that is if you don't know at the time of uploading the script that it's going to be the same character, you can go ahead and keep it as Cop 1. What you'll need to do once you realize, oh, hey, that's Officer Gleason will already exist. So you'll just assign Officer Gleason to be in that episode and then go ahead and assign the scenes that for Cop 1 to Officer Gleason. Then you could go ahead and delete Cop 1. So basically, you would have to manually reassign the scenes for Cop 1 to Officer Gleason, but Officer Gleason already exists, so you don't have to create that character again. All you need to do is drop him in the same scenes. Of course, if that name changed during a script revision, then you would be able to go ahead and change it in the revision process there. But if this is just a word of mouth thing, then you could do it that way. And we've got another great question from Tara. Can you print off and view reports for the whole season rather than just per episode? Terrific question. And
awesome. Thanks, Tara. So at this moment, or when this goes live, we will still only be able to pull reports per episode. So the reports will not be changing. However, that's something that we do want to revisit in our roadmap for 2020.
And well, that looks like we are out of time for questions now. But please remember that you can always reach out to us via the chat function on our website, which will still exist in the new version. You'll still see that familiar bubble in the bottom right. You can always email us at support@SyncOnSet. And you can give us a call. Our phone number hasn't changed. And we'll also have a great help center at support.synconset.com. And just as a reminder, our support hours are not changing. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Universal Time. We're always happy to hear from you and help you out. So please don't be shy. And I just wanted to thank everybody who took the time out of your Sunday to join us for today's webinar. We know many of you are longtime users of Sync on Set, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed this session and learned a lot about Crew Tools 5.0. We're really excited to be launching it. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us via all the normal communication channels, chat, email, phone. We love hearing from you. Now go have a great rest of your day.